What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today is January 3rd of 2022. I hope you guys had a great holiday. Today, Bitcoin is struggling to find support. This is a 4-hour chart. We are now continuing back down to our support zone here. And I think a lot of people are confused as to why Bitcoin is struggling so much to bounce back. Because I know that people are probably looking at the stock market. This is the S&P 500 long-term weekly chart. And zooming in on the weekly, we are now, reaching the sky, touching new all-time highs. It's looking great for the stock market here. And Bitcoin is just not getting its footing. And people are wondering what's going on. Because usually there is a strong degree of correlation with Bitcoin and the S&P on the weekly chart, and that's what I want to talk about today. So one thing I want to bring up first is I just want to look at the S&P here on the weekly time frame and then pull up Bitcoin. Usually the trends are somewhat correlated. Actually, 80% of the time on the weekly chart, there is a degree of correlation. 20% of the time, there's less correlation going on with Bitcoin versus the stock market. Right, 2017, both ran up together. They both bottomed together at the exact same time in 2018. And then they recovered together, right? Bitcoin have kind of extended up faster than the stock market in this particular range. Bitcoin also extended up faster than the stock market in this particular range. So sometimes Bitcoin actually becomes more bullish than the stock market, but generally looking at these bottom zones, bottoming together, 2017, 2018, topping out at a relatively similar time. And now we're in this point in time here where we had strong correlation up, down, strong correlation up, down. And here we're seeing low correlation. Stock market's going up, Bitcoin's going down. And the reason that this is happening is because of forced exchange selling in China. Now, this event is actually over. If we look at this Forbes article, there was a big event with the Huobi exchange. Down at the bottom of this article, there's this portion where they talk about the event in China with the Huobi exchange, right? One of the biggest exchanges over there in China. The selling pressure has been mounting ahead of that ban as users from China seek to sell crypto to convert to fiat before the December 31st deadline. So this was just the other day. We can expect relief into the new year and a possible recovery drive. However, the sustainability of recovery will depend on market sentiment and underlying dynamics at the time. And then the next paragraph below that says, in September, one of the largest Bitcoin and crypto exchanges in China, Huobi, said that it will be working to a December 31st, 2021 deadline to retire existing user accounts, right? So we've had a lot of forced selling in China, right, with Huobi and others. And that was leading into this recent time. December 31st was on the chart right here, right? So leading into this point, there was a lot of selling, forced selling going on in China, and now that's over, yet we're not recovering. And if you're looking at Bitcoin and the stock market, now we're not even correlating, which we usually do to some degree, right? Overall, usually there's some degree of correlation. And like I just said, this recent non-correlation, Bitcoin going down, S&P going up, is due to the Chinese forced exchange selling. And the question is now, why isn't Bitcoin going up? Now that that selling is over, don't you think we should be bouncing? Right? Most people would think that, but we're not. And I think this has to do with just market sentiment for Bitcoin now being damaged. Right, we had this major sell-off from 69 all the way to 42. Then we kept seeing lower highs, a breakout that failed. We came back down, and now we're just retesting the lows. So I think that market sentiment is just low, right? It's just down, negative. People are unsure of what's going to happen to Bitcoin. Though I think that over time, we most likely should be catching up with the stock market trend here. This is now the daily chart. This is the S&P and Bitcoin comparison from June of this year to where we are now, right? Lots of correlations going on here until just recently. Now, I do think that we're going to catch up with this. We probably at some point will start to snap back into place with the stock market. It's just the question of, are we going to see one more dump or something like that before we get the recovery? That is all possible. And I also want to bring back the chart here, the pattern that I was talking about in my last video, the bump and run. And, just bring up the textbook pattern here. In this textbook example, after you break out, you get the throwback, one touch to the downside. And this textbook actually has one touch, two touches on that trend line before the rally. Bitcoin has broken out. We got the throwback. And now we saw a second touch. Maybe we're going to get a third touch, right? Maybe we actually come down a little bit lower, possibly as low as 4,800, right, along this trend line. And if we hold it, if we hold this trend line and bounce and recover, then this bump and run pattern is valid. It is valid if we hold that trend line and bounce. Then we could see that major uphill run as a result. Now, if we start to fall below this trend line, then the pattern is no longer valid and we have to look for something else. But just want to make this video to sort of maybe give you some answers, explain, that market sentiment has been damaged a little bit. Forced selling in China caused us to not get a recovery, and that's what stopped the correlation with the stock market. But we are still in a bump and run pattern. And as long as we hold about 44,800, if we can just bounce here, then we could be good to go, right? So let's see what happens over the next few days. I don't see why the positive stock market moves wouldn't help Bitcoin at this point in time. So I am still remaining bullish as long as we are flipping resistance to new support here on this trend line. And then I'm looking for the major uphill run, bump and run recovery. Hope you're all doing well. And also hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you soon.